Thanks to a pretty dramatic win for Brad Angelo over Patrick Girard in his first ever show. Brad is to the final, so take on either Patrick Allen or Robert Smith. Lefty versus righty. One head-to-head on TV, and Patrick Allen has the victory to this point. Randy Peterson, what's going on with these two guys today?
Well, lots going on, especially with Patrick Allen, Dave Ryan. Patrick Allen has been on quite a roll the last 4 tournaments, finishing 10th, 5th, and 6th. And today making the TV show. Looks like everything's coming together for you. How do you like your chances today and why?
Well, it's been a good run, but, you know, Robert's a great competitor, and Brad obviously is looking for his first title, so I got a long way to go.
Thanks, Patrick. Good luck. Robert, you finished 2nd last week in El Paso, but you admitted to making a big mistake in terms of adjustments in the title match. What did you learn from that?
You know, most of the time when I'm bowling on shows, a lot of time I just rely on my physical ability and just what I can do to get the ball off the corner. Last week, it definitely cost me because I made the move left. Everybody saw what happened in the first 5 frames. I went back, played the lanes like I was supposed to, and everything fell in again. So this week, I'm going to make sure I don't do that same mistake, play the lanes properly instead of doing what I think I can do best, and we'll see how it goes.
Great. Thanks. Good luck, Robert. This is a great matchup. A can't miss. Power versus finesse, and 2 guys that love to hoop it up, Dave.
Randy Robert telling us last night when we interviewed him that he was a little more nervous on this Scorpion oil pattern because, as you've talked about and we've broken down, on the cheetah pattern, which yields such high scores. We saw that last week in El Paso, Texas. Robert has had so much success, but this is more of a thinking man's pattern, if you will, for Robert Smith. Goes back to the shot making we talked about with Angelo. Did he ever come through on that multi-pin spare in his match with Girard? He's going to have to use a lot of strategy today. Yeah. What power! Blasts his way through 10 in the pit.
Lots of power, but lots of speed for Robert Smith today. When you have a rev rate that gets into about the 500-plus range, that's RPMs, revolutions per minute, the only way to keep the ball on a straight line is to throw it really hard.
Lone lefty of our show, PA, Patrick Allen. Not the start he wanted, just a 6-pin count on a light ball.
Leaves the bucket. Ball comes in just a pinch light. And keep in mind, this is about a ½ an inch from striking. Just doesn't catch enough of the head pin. Perfect on multi-pin conversions all week. And when you're bowling on a tough pattern, when you don't strike, you better leave yourself something you can make, and you better convert it.
Liked it. You heard him say right on, which leads us right to the Baby Ruth Real Deal matchup, Randy.
And he's still perfect. And pretty tight matchup here. Look at the averages are almost identical. But here's the thing. Tougher pattern. If it comes down to a spare shooting contest, advantage Patrick Allen. You want to be a player on the PBA tour? You better make spares. Check this out. 2nd this week.
One key reason, as we saw with our graphics there in the interview with Patrick you had, he's been so hot of late. What a second half. This is our 3rd event, 2nd swing of our season. No help on the 10-pin there for Patrick Allen.
You can see his ball, Dave, coming up just a little bit light there as well.
Leads me to believe guys like Allen and Patrick Girard having such success in the second half must really be enjoying the 7-game qualifying blocks in the round of 64.
Well, I think if you were to poll the players, I think the majority of them like it. The players want to bowl games. They want to bowl more games. And when it was a match play only type of tournament, if you were in a slump, you could go a month and only bowl 16 games of competitive bowling.
10-pin goes down for Patrick Allen, who defeated Robert Smith head-to-head back in the 2001 Greater Detroit Open. High-scoring game, 236. Smith just 204 that day. Smith, winner of 6 titles. Patrick has won 2 PBA championships. But this really is a milestone-type day. I agree with you in an earlier conversation today, Randy. For Robert Smith, he can really distinguish himself as a more versatile player.
Well, it's not very often that you see Robert Smith going this straight.
Oh, that's way light. Trying to get that to wheel into the pocket.
No grabbing it. It's just rolling it.
Difficult split.
Yeah, and see, he didn't look comfortable on this lane in warm-ups. You can see there's a pretty fine line on this pattern Remember last week, man, when you got it to the right, it looked like somebody kicked it back left. Not this week.
1, 2, 4, 10. Not easy. Look out. Whiffs by number 10 and an open
All right, done.
for Robert
Get that one.
Smith. 223.15 average and got by Danny Wiseman. Won the ABC Masters 6 games in the round of 8. And last year's Dexter Tournament of Champions winner. A couple of recent major winners. And, of course, the great Walter A. Williams in the round of 16. Remember Smith last week derailed a bit when he threw a gutter ball, came back to knock down all 10 pins, but he's faced some recent adversity on TV, so we'll see how he responds to the Open now. Very well, thank you. All 10 down for Smith. Little miniature looks at career building moments for a player like Smith, who's got to learn how to adjust as the TV lane and the pair, the oil breaks down.
Well, I mean, the way he's playing the lanes is a complete different mindset for a guy like Robert Smith. You look at power, or when you look at Robert Smith, you think of power, and power is always equal to, missing right or throwing the ball right and getting it to hook back. Right now, Robert Smith trying to go real straight.
And Patrick Allen trying to keep the hot streak going we talked about.
Pry it off. Got to pry it off.
That's his slogan statement. Pry it off. That means get that ball out of the hand in the right spot on those boards into the pocket.
Very, very deliberate. He's got a checklist a mile long, and sometimes I think has a tendency to overthink it. He said himself last night that he's trying to simplify the checklist.
Works on a strike. That would have given him a 21-pin lead. Instead, 7-pin stands for Patrick Allen.
When you watch Patrick Allen in warm-ups, he was using a plastic ball. And plastic balls carry oil down the lane. They don't absorb oil like the strike ball we use today. The strike balls we use today. And you can see that Patrick Allen's ball is entering the pocket weak. It's entering late. I'm wondering if maybe he carried too much oil down the lane.
Seven pin down. Such a contrast between these two, where Maximum Bob throws so hard and Allen that deliberate, almost Parker Bone III-like ball down the lane. Speaking of Parker, who won last week in El Paso, he took him out in the round of 16. Eric Thorkel, another southpaw, went down in the round of 32. And Tim Chris works with us on our ESPN broadcasts in 7. A good week for Tim.
And Patrick Allen said himself that Tim Chris was very unlucky last night in losing to PA, but hey, that's our sport.
Four pin.
Pretty good shot, and he's just trying to keep the ball in line. Remember, high rev player, lots of hit. Not a lot of hold on the lane for Robert Smith or anyone else for that matter. And again, whole different mindset for him trying to play this straight on the lanes.
And Randy, along those lines, Robert told us last night he was really coming into this show today guessing as to the strategy and game plan, how he was going to attack these lanes. Last week, so comfortable on that cheetah pattern. But here, it's a different ball game.
Pretty hard not to be comfortable on the cheetah pattern when you have free hook to the right and the oil left.
Tomorrow, join ESPN for Big Monday, presented by Bud Light. 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Hakeem Ward, Jerry McNamara, and 7th-ranked Syracuse, fresh off a win over West Virginia yesterday, take on Ricky Shields and Rutgers. Then at 9 Eastern, in-state rivals clash, John Lucas, Joey Graham, and the 5th-ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys take on 21st-ranked Oklahoma. For more, log on ESPN.com. Big Monday tomorrow night on ESPN. Robert wants to make sure we have a shout out for his little girl back home in California. Kayla, 7 years old, watching today. And I'm sure Kayla loves Daddy striking there.
Kayla certainly loved that shot, and Robert needs to start throwing more of those on the right lane. He's perfect on the left lane. Still looking for his first strike on the right lane. This is classic power player posture. Starts off straight, and he ends up diagonal. Trail leg to the right, or to the left, rather. That follow through, right shoulder below the left shoulder.
Robert telling us that we've got to appreciate there are several ways to get to the pocket on this oil pattern. And as the lanes break down thanks to the TV lights, we're now in our second match. Things are always changing. A lot of strategy, folks, involved at bowling at this level, as Allen has a 3-pin stand.
Let it go.
Bottom of your screen to see the PBA Tour exemptions. These guys are set for next season. See Pete Weber and Tom Baker, long-time exemptions because they've won the majors. Rick Lawrence, a winner this year. St. Louis, Jason Hurds. Title came in Wichita.
These guys look a little tight, don't you think, Dave? Dave?
Another excellent match.
Guys look a little tight. Anytime you bowl in a lane condition like this, under this type of pressure, you hear Patrick Allen saying, come on, pry it off, pry it off. That means he's just trying to get it out of his hand clean without grabbing it. And when you feel like you're bowling in a closet where you don't have any room left to right, it's hard to pry it off.
That goes back to, at least with Smith, not being in familiar territory. So a lot of guesswork out there, and it's educated guesswork, but still strategy and the mental focus critical for both of these bowlers here. Nice help, pin action from Patrick Allen, a 10-pin lead. He's through 6 frames. He and Smith battle in an exciting semifinal.
This week's PBA Commissioner's exemption was Carolyn Doran Ballard, wife of PBA Pro Del Ballard, and an 18-time winner on the Women's Tour.
First game, I was really nervous. I was. But after the first game, it was great, and I had a wonderful cross. I bowled with Parker, Tom Baker.
The PBA on ESPN, brought to you by Geico. You too could save 15% or more on car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO. By Baby Ruth, the official candy bar of the PBA. Baby Ruth from Nestle, the real deal. And by Storm, the Bowlers Company.
Just minutes from downtown Dallas, Texas, the PBA Dallas Open. Patrick Allen, Robert Smith battling here to see who will face Brad Angelo in today's championship match. We are at Don Carter's All-Star Lane West. To bowl well, all your moving parts must be in sync. Randy takes a look at Patrick Allen's subtle hands in this week's Dexter approach.
Yeah, one of the things PA has is a great release set up by a beautiful arm swing and great timing. Something that he works very, very hard to accomplish. Now check this out. What is he doing with his hand? Well, he's creating a little side roll. This is called axis rotation. See that ball rotating this way. Why? Well, let me show you why. Once the ball clears the length of the oil pattern, it's going to go to the right. It's going to travel in direction of rotation. It's going to give him beautiful results like that, Dave.
Love that slow motion. Special part of our broadcast this week. Featured throughout our season here on ESPN's coverage of the PBA Tour. Really accentuating our coverage of the Dexter approach. Robert Smith told us last week he considers his first half of the season a disaster. He was getting rolled over by players he felt he should have been beating handily. Thought it was a mediocre first half at best, the first 8 events. Now strategy. Can he adjust with the lanes?
Gosh.
Maybe not.
If I get a little in, the ball goes 4-pin, a little right or up it.
Gosh.
Robert's in the in-between zone. A little bit right, it does this. A little bit left of that spot, it goes high. Keep in mind also that he's using a ball that rolls very, very early, and the earlier the ball rolls, the less it's going to hook in the back part of the lane.
Look out. 8-pin up. He knew it upon release. It could be trouble, and it was.
Okay.
An open.
Sometimes speed kills, Dave, and that one got away from Robert. Was thrown very hard and pulled left.
That's your shots.
Suddenly down by 22 just a moment ago was a 10-pin deficit. Now Robert rededicated himself over the Christmas break. Mental focus, big part of it, he said. For moments like this, and look out, another split disaster for Smith. That was way light. Two, 4, 10 stand for Robert.
Get the ball over here, slide the 2 into the 10. The ball will cover the 4.
Bounce.
No.
Oh, Rob.
Just looking at the scoreboard, that's where Robert is checking out, and back-to-back open frame, something we rarely see on the PBA Tour. It's just shocking to see back-to-back open frames. Now, look at the lead balloon for Patrick Allen, who's been on the bench watching the lead expand. Head to PBA.com, all the inside information on Walter A. Williams Jr. and his quest to break Earl Anthony's all-time wins record. Simply click on the new Chasing Earl link for all the stories and stats on the Tour's greatest bowler ever, and the man who's trying to move past him in the record book. All that and much more at PBA.com. It should be bookmarked already on your high speed. If it isn't, do it.
It is on mine.
All right, me too. Patrick Allen takes advantage of the Smith stumbles, and the lead up to a chance for 43.
You see the 5-step approach of Patrick Allen. See the inside part of the hand, or the hand of the inside part of the ball, rather. The nice body lean this way. Nice knee bend. Beautiful release.
It is at 43 pins now. Max scores 248 for PA. Driver's seat would be an understatement. They go up by 53 pins with a strike here.
Yes, baby.
You bet.
That shot there, very sexy, Dave. Gives him 3-bagger. He's in the driver's seat. All he has to do is stay behind the foul line for the most part, for the 9th and 10th. See Robert squaring his shoulders up. That's to try to keep the ball in a straight line.
Now he's got himself a strike as the adjustment is properly made, but back-to-back opens a killer for him. Our tour exemptions for this season: 16 event champs, 4 major champions. We've only had 1 major so far this year. It's an interesting schedule change. In years past, they've had 2 and 2, before and after the new year. There's the notable point list, including Ryan Schaefer's won several titles on tour. Steve Jarrett's won 3 titles last year, Randy, including here in Dallas, and right now is on the outside looking in.
Monticelli, Hall of Famer. A couple other titleists down there that Lonnie Wallachek with 2 titles.
That's not bad.
A lot of guys that need some help here in the next 8-9 weeks.
Went the wrong way. Instead of trying to pipe 6, should have been piping
8 weeks
3.
left in the schedule to get points. Dexter Tournament of Champions to wrap up our season in April is not point related. Look at that. Talk about steamrolling the ball down lane. A little frustration for Rapid Robert. Maximum Bob, as we call him, because he throws such a high rev rate.
That was real fast. Yeah. That had a little red rear end to it when he heaved that one down there.
As they say in Texas. As you say in Texas. Chance for 4-bagger and a 53-pin lead, pretty much putting it away. That is exactly what happens for Patrick Allen, and he will take on Brad Angelo in a very interesting lefty-righty final here in Dallas.
I got to do this next one for the tour, Mop.
Yeah, you got it.
I don't want to let anybody down.
We'll fast track to the end here since our result has been determined. Although with Patrick, maybe that's not so easy. He's very deliberate, isn't he? Even when it's over. And keep that pre-shot routine intact, and a 7-pin for him.
What do I kind of adjustment.
2015 frames.
Wonder what kind of adjustment he
Rob.
made in the 8th frame, because he just struck back-to-back on the right lane for the first time all game.
Only 2 combined titles between Patrick Allen and Brad Angelo. Angelo's never won on tour. Allen just the pair.
Oh.
You move it forward back.
I moved everything 4 right. And
It's amazing how the ball hooks all of a sudden.
We've talked about the adjustments Robert had to make on this pattern he's really not that comfortable with.
Well, I mean, he made the same mistake last week on a pattern he was comfortable with. He saw one thing, his mind said go in this direction, and it was the wrong direction. See, now that's the Rob we all know and love.
The big boomer, a lot of hook, right? Had a good week for him. Coming up, our first ever TV matchup. Allen, Angelo, and a final.
Ugh, my feet ache.
They don't smell so great either.